Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Dathan Days. And today, as you see behind me, we have the 890 Duke from KTM. And we are here at the KTM Makery Circle showroom to experience. Since this is an experience store, we're here to experience this big motorcycles. So as you see it, it's in this one of these beautiful colors, which is this blue and orange, which personally is my favorite color. And yeah, this is the 890 Duke. And to give you a little power figures, this is an 889cc engine which produces around 121 horsepower and around 99 newton meters of torque, which, oh my god, that is peak performance on a naked motorcycle. And yeah, it's not peak performance when you're talking about KTM, because they have the 1390 as well, which is one of the biggest beasts on planet Earth. And yeah, this is a pretty light motorcycle, and yeah, it's got pretty good body as well, which comes with a metal tank and all fiber body. The chassis is a steel chassis, and yeah, it's a pretty good motorcycle. Talk to you about the suspension. This has got WP suspension, which is one of the most famous KTM partnership brands. It's got WP suspensions both front and back, and this is not an electronically adjustable suspension. It has adjustability, which you'll need to do it manually. So to talk to you about the fuel capacity, this has got a 14-liter fuel tank, and the dry weight on this motorcycle is around 169 kgs, which is pretty light, pretty heavy, depends on how well you're managing motorcycles as well. Then to talk to you about the seat height is around 818 mm, which is pretty manageable for all city conditions. And the ground clearance for this bike, I think you need to come a little closer to understand how much it is visually, and then I'm going to give you the numbers as well. Visually you can see it's got pretty good ground clearance, but then to give you the numbers, this is around 190 mm ground clearance, and the seat height, as I told you, is 818 mm. In order to understand the comparison of a person sitting on the bike, I'm 5'9", and I can peacefully sit on this motorcycle. It's a pretty good motorcycle, and your riding position is not too dedicated. It's an upright position because, again, this is a naked motorcycle. It's not as dedicated as the 1390, and yeah, it does hold a sporty position, but then it's manageable, and the bike is very light. Even though on paper it says it's around 169 kgs, this bike, moving it, sitting on it, it's a pretty light motorcycle. To talk to you about the tires, this has got 17-inch tires, both front and back, but back is a 180 section tire, which is a pretty big, beefier tire, basically a superbike tire. And the tail light sits much farther in the seat, and you get a pretty comfortable seat as well, and you get this grab handle as well, and you get a higher exhaust placement. When you look at this back portion, you're going to notice it's from a very recognizable bike, which is the Scalpel, the 790 Scalpel. And yeah, the 790 was discontinued, but then they bought this, the 890, which is more powerful than the 790, and this is what people are calling the new Scalpel of KTM. So guys, I think it's best you listen to this motorcycle, because you would have listened to how the 790 sound, but let's take a listen how the 890 sounds and how different the 890 sounds from the 790. But I'm not sure how well the camera is going to capture it and the mic is going to capture it. You have to look at it in person, you have to listen to it in person in order to understand the motorcycle. So let's look at how the headlight looks, because you guys will remember this from the 790. It's got a pretty similar headlight. where you get the DRLs on both the sides and you get the LEDs as well, which are pretty bright and which have been used in the all the KTMs till now. And yeah, as you see, I'm sitting upright and it's not too dedicated position. It's a position that you would like to have on all the naked motorcycles. This is the cockpit of the 890 Duke, and you get pretty simple switches on the handlebar, which is your menu buttons, your indicators, your horn, and your engine kill switch. And the display is pretty simple. You get your different information like your trip and everything, and yeah. So basically, this you get a lot of information on this bike, and you get different riding modes. Like you have rain, sport, and street as well, which are pretty good riding modes. And your ABS, your suspension, and your engine part depends on which mode that you're riding in, and it differs according to that. So guys, I'm here taking a test ride of the 890 Duke, and first initial thoughts are that this is an aggressive machine, and even with the slightest twist in throttle, this bike is ready to pull. And yeah, previously I did have some experience with KTM Dukes like the 390, 250, 200 and 125 as well. I did go flat out on the 390, but honestly, KTM has not disappointed with the 890. As KTM is calling this the new scalpel, and I would say KTM is not wrong, because this is an upgrade from the 790, even though the 790 was a scalpel, and it was, I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but 790 was actually KTM's first superbike entry into India, apart from the RC8, which had been come a long back, but that bike had to be imported. But the 790 was available for purchase in India, and now we have something even more bigger and badder as well, which is the 890 Duke. So coming to talk to you about how the riding feels. The riding the KTM 890 in the city is an exciting part, but yet it's a demanding experience as well. Right from the start, the 889cc parallel twin engine felt lively and responsive, making quick work of traffic gaps and stoplight launches. The bike's lightweight chassis and well-balanced design make it incredibly agile, allowing me to weave through tight spaces and navigate urban streets with ease. The throttle response is smooth, making low-speed maneuvering easy, while the slipper clutch and quick shifter, if equipped, reduce the effort needed in stop and go conditions. And yes, when I say if equipped, this does come with the quick shifter as an option. The upright seating position gives a commanding view of the road, which is crucial in city traffic, and the wide handlebar provides excellent control, making lane changes and tight turns feel natural. The suspension, though sporty, is well tuned for urban roads, absorbing small potholes and uneven surfaces as well. However, it does have a slightly formed setup, which means sharper bumps and rough roads can be felt more than on softer bikes. Braking is another strong point, with the powerful front and rear brakes offering sharp, predictable stopping power. Something essential for sudden stops is unpredictable in city traffic. One major downside I noticed was the heat management. In heavy traffic and slow-moving conditions, the engine heat builds up quickly, making it very uncomfortable, especially in warmer weathers. And since we are heading into summers now in India, it does get a little uneasy because, first of all, the weather is really hot and really dry. And when you're sitting in stop and go traffic and the bike is also producing a lot of heat, it does tend to be a little uneasy at times. While the bike's cooling system works well at speed, extended idling can make the heat noticeable around the legs, which is something to consider if you ride a lot in congested areas. And basically, if you ride in the city conditions a lot, you will feel the heat eventually. But if you're taking it on long rides and if you keep the bike at a constant speed, then it easily helps to manage the heat. But I'm not saying that you need to be at a constant speed in city. You need to maintain the speed limit. This bike can be felt a lot more cooler when you're on an open stretch or when you're on highways. But in city, it does heat up a little bit. That being said, the 890 Duke is an absolute blast in the city. Its power, agility, and aggressive yet manageable nature makes it an exciting commuter for riders who want performance without sacrificing practicality. If you can handle the heat and slightly firm ride, this bike makes everyday urban riding feel like an adrenaline-filled adventure. So guys, that's the video on the Duke 890. So hope you'll enjoy the video. Stay tuned. See you on the next one.